guys, this is Chris Martinez. So you guys might get a little bit confused on the voices during these podcasts. Okay, so it's gonna be funny. It's gonna be kind of like a trip because you're not gonna know who is gonna be talking. But you know what? At the end of the day, it'll be fun, and I'm sure you guys will catch some trends with the voices and everything like that between us. Okay, so I'm gonna start off about just kind of talking about who we are. Obviously we're identical twins. Okay, Eric is 1 minute older, and we always joke around that 1 minute doesn't mean shit, to be honest here. Okay,
it does, guys. It does.
I'm still stronger. I still got 1 minute less of aging, so I got more youth on him. So you know what I mean. There's perks to being the twin by 1 younger minute. So besides that though, we're identical twins. We've created this awesome online coaching business, and I'm sure you guys have heard of it, Dynamic Duo Training. And we coach people through their training, their nutrition. We've added lifestyle coaching as well because we're firm believers that you can't just have training and nutrition throughout your life. It has to be a holistic type of approach with lifestyle and habits and good behavioral habits as well to kind of build this core foundation to be able to be successful within your training, nutrition, and have this as a long-term thing, not a quick fix. So that's kind of what we've cultivated here at Dynamic Duo Training. And all of our clients are super awesome. So if you guys are listening, shout out to all you guys.
Huge shout out to everyone.
Excuse my language, but you guys are fucking awesome. You guys seriously are. You guys keep us, motivated and just grinding every single day to make everything better. So that's kind of about, who we are and what we've done, within the fitness industry. But we're also entrepreneurs. We're also students of life, and we always want to kind of constantly better ourselves, consistently grow as individuals. Whether it's just relationships, self-development as coaches, entrepreneurs, everything like that.
And I would add on to that too that we would have to obviously thank a bunch of our mentors. Right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Without all of our mentors, the last 6 years or so, none of this would be possible. Because you start off always like you always feel like you're on that island when you're starting off, kind of as an entrepreneur and a newbie to being a small business owner. So if I could tell you guys one thing to just get after, and that is to seek mentors. You always want to seek people that are smarter than you, that have more experience, that can kind of teach you guys ways to avoid certain mistakes, and that's really the best route to go because we're all constantly learning, and we're always going to fail no matter what along this journey of being entrepreneurs and trying to get that better lifestyle within our lives. So failing's not a bad thing. It's all about just picking yourself up and brushing yourself off, going back to the drawing board, and just moving forward.
Yeah, going forward, we'll actually have our mentors on here as guests, so we'll be able to pick their brains and just kind of dive in deep with them, and that's going to be what's cool about our podcast, and we'll talk about that a little bit more on what it's all going to consist of. But like Eric said, man, you guys got to have mentors in your life. We wish we would have known this a long time ago. Mentors are everything. It's just really the key to life, I think, and being successful.
So moving on kind of to a different subject, we want to pretty much be authentic as possible within this show that we're putting on throughout our podcast. So, we want to tell everybody, and we want to be open about, what our story is. I think that, by us telling our story, we can touch a lot of lives out there and help a lot of people, because we know a lot of people are either going through this or have, had something like this, a tragedy in their life growing up or even as of late. And that's one thing we want to do. We want to put our story out there. We don't want to hide anything about it. We want to tell you guys every detail as possible that along our journey where we are today. So that's what I'm going to get into. I'm going to talk about our story, and then how we kind of stumbled upon becoming entrepreneurs and founding our business, Dynamic Duo Training. So when we always grew up, we're from a very small town in Northern California. It's called Santa Rosa, and it's beautiful, wine country. It's right next to San Francisco, about 45 minutes north. So it's very, very beautiful there. Very small town, very good place to raise a family. So growing up there, you know, we had like the picture perfect life, you know, with our parents. We have an older brother that we love very, very much and look up to. And, you know, we had the perfect life growing up. You know, we always, you know, our father was a role model to us. He pretty much, you know, demonstrated, him and my mom pretty much demonstrated what a perfect marriage is in my eyes. And, you know, I never seen one of them disrespect each other. They were always just on the same page. Sure, they had some arguments, but it was nothing to, you know, the extent of, you know, what I have seen today and what I've heard from certain people. So, you know, we were very grateful and blessed to grow up in that kind of household environment. And our parents were just nothing but awesome, to be honest. They really, really just, you know, showed us, you know, how to develop core values and how to just do things the right way and do things with integrity. So, you know, we grew up just, you know, in a, you know, picture perfect household. We'd go on family vacations. Chris and I were always, you know, in school. Our father preached education always, and he taught us, you know, work ethic on how to work hard. He was a correctional officer at San Quentin Prison for many, many years. So, you know, he would wake up at 4 in the morning and he would literally, you know, commute about an hour to work and back each day and come back, you know, around 5, 6 o'clock. And he made that sacrifice for his family, you know, and to put us in a better position. So, you know, that's one thing just now, you know, looking back at it is just how much my father sacrificed for us and his family. And it's just, it's a beautiful thing. But when you're younger, you don't really see those little things and you don't appreciate it because you're just in a different, you know, you have a different mindset back then when you're younger. But, you know, like I said, you know, he was a correctional officer. You know, he was a full father figure when he came home from work. He never brought that shit from, you know, coming home from like dealing with inmates in prison, stuff like that. He never brought that home to his household, you know, and that was one thing that's just amazing, to just not bring that kind of energy, that negative energy back home to your family. So, you know, he would always come back home. He would always make it to our soccer games, our basketball games. He would always go with us to go play, like, you know, sports and stuff. That's how much he wanted to spend time with us. And he was always, you know, very attentive to, you know, his wife, our mother. And, you know, he was just an all around, just like awesome guy. So, you know, we developed a lot of like, you know, good things from him that we saw. And it rubbed off on us, which is amazing. And, you know, that's just how pretty much our childhood was up until about high school. You know, picture perfect, all that stuff. And then, you know, pretty much what happened one night was that my father passed away. So he was driving back from a work party and he fell asleep behind the wheel. And instantly he crashed and passed away. So you guys can imagine that it was like a 360 switch to our family. So what happened was that the way it went down was that we pretty much just got, excuse me, I had to get some water. But we pretty much got a knock on our door one night, and it was probably 3 or 4 days right before Christmas. And this was in 2009, right?
Senior year of high school.
Yeah, it was our senior year of high school. We just turned 18 years old, and we got a doorbell ring and a knock from somebody like at 3 in the morning, and we were just like, what the hell? Like, who's at our door? And you know, it turns out to be it was 2 or 3 you know, California Highway Patrol officers and
A priest.
And a priest too. So I mean, that's never a good thing, right? But you know, we were just had woken up. We were just like so out of it, and all I remember is just kind of like my mom just like dropped into her knees and just like crying, just like screaming hysterically. And it was just like, it was one of the hardest things that I had to ever witness and really just take in as a 18-year-old person. And you know, it's one of those things where you never expect it and you never think that that's going to happen to you. But, you know, it did. It happened to us, and it was a tragedy. It was really, really bad, you know, and from then on, you know, it was just, seeing your father going to your father's funeral and, seeing him like in a coffin is just like, you can't even like describe the feeling of it or how much it just tears your heart out. So, it was just a really, really tough experience for us and our family. It hit us like a ton of bricks. Like I said, we were like a picture perfect family, and all of a sudden that just hit us. And from then on, our mother, just pretty much kind of lost herself for a while. And her mother, our grandma, passed away 3 months after that due to cancer. So it was another ton of bricks hit, with us. And we were very close to her too. So our mother pretty much kind of just like lost it. She became an alcoholic. She turned to alcohol. She took a lot of antidepressant pills, and she just wasn't herself. We knew that we had lost a part of my mother, that day when my father passed away.
And something you guys don't know is like our mom before that, she was very fortunate that she didn't have to work. I mean, she was pretty much a stay-at-home mom, and that's really what she wanted to do. That was her job. That's what she wanted to do, her goal in life. So she didn't even pay any of the bills. I mean, and after this tragedy happened, I mean, she pretty much was the sole provider with everything. She had to figure out the bills, how things were going to get paid, how we were going to go to college, stuff like that. So it was a huge turnaround for her too.
Yeah, and then, like I said, it really just like turned everything upside down. It was like a 360 for myself, Chris, my older brother, and my mom. So, she turned to alcoholism. She turned to antidepressant pills. So it was very, very tough for us to watch her go through that. And as a son, all you want to do is see your mom happy. And to see her like that was just, it was so difficult. It tore us to pieces. Which led to a bunch of other things, outside of our house. We had so much anger in us, and I mean, who wouldn't? Realistically, what 18, 19-year-old kid would not have a ton of anger after losing their father, their grandma, and then losing part of their mother? I mean, it was unreal. It seemed like a huge dream, to be honest. And we were just full of anger. We were angry kids. And, we took that anger out on people when we were just out. We started drinking a lot, Chris and I. We just looked for trouble because we didn't know how else to, deal with that. We didn't have any mentors. We didn't have a father figure anymore, which, in my opinion, is the toughest time and the best time to have a father figure. When you turn 18, 19 years old, that's when you're really discovering who you are. So yeah, we were lost. We were lost guys, and I have no shame in saying that. It was just really, really bad times. And we actually wrote an article about this. It's called To Hell and Back. And, we'll link it up to this podcast so you guys can see the full story, but it really just tells all of our story in just a Word document and everything. But yeah, we felt like we were in hell, to be honest. We just got in a lot of trouble. We got in a lot of trouble with like authorities, stuff like that. And, just looking back at it now, it's just like, all I can do is shake my head. But at the same time, it's like, I can't sit there and be like, wow, Eric, wow, Chris, like, you guys are dumb. Like, you guys could have done so much better than that. But we didn't have anybody to tell us that. We didn't know any better. We didn't know how to handle that kind of tragedy. We didn't know how to overcome adversity at that time. We were lost, So all we did was we worked our jobs full time and we went to school full time because that's what our father wanted us to do, is finish up school. He wanted us to go to college. So, we had to go to a local college here where we lived in Santa Rosa back at the time. And we finished up our undergraduate work there, and we did that because we knew that that's one thing he always advocated and he always wanted to see us do. And, we had some really, really tough times up until then. And
we're,
then
we're talking academic probation, like to the point
Yeah.
where almost getting kicked out of school. That's how bad it was and the lowest point it was.
yeah, everything. And just to come home to see your mom like that, sometimes just drunk and passed out. It's not the easiest thing to do, when you're at that age. You just don't know what to do. So I'll let Chris talk about kind of like where we took off after that and kind of how we kind of shed some light. And yeah, you can elaborate on that.
So that everything that Eric talked about, that was the hell part. Okay, that was full on hell, dark times. Okay, so now I'm going to talk about the back part, how we saw the light. What got us out of this this hell and this tunnel. So like Eric said, we were like 3 years into college. We were working, and we were at that point where we were going to get kicked out of school, and it was a decision: either we just completely give up school, or we clean up our act and we finish off the last 2 years, which was our major. So I don't know, I can't tell you what it was exactly that like inspired us to really kick it up a notch in school. It might have just been because we started doing our major and that was kind of more interesting. So it was business communications, so that kind of motivated us a little more. So we turned around, with school, we got our grades up, everything like that. We ended up getting an internship with the Golden State Warriors, just doing some promotional stuff, some marketing stuff. It was just something to get on our resume, and just because we're Warrior fans and we got to go to the games and stuff like that. So we did that. We worked full time still, and I would say the turning point, the real big turning point, when we were about 24 years old. It was going into our senior year of college at Sonoma State University, and I was going through the muscle magazines. I used to subscribe to these muscle magazines. It's called Muscular Development, and don't ask me why, but I used to subscribe to these garbage magazines. But you know what? It was a blessing in disguise at that moment, and I really feel that my father put that magazine there for me to read on that day. And I flipped to that page, and there was this column by Dr. Lane Norton. He was a natural bodybuilder, and it just inspired me because he was natural. And nothing against people that take steroids or nothing like that, but it was just something that just inspired me. And I read his column a couple of times, and then I showed Eric, and we made the decision to hire him as a coach. And it was literally the best decision we could have made ever. And we'll get him on the show to talk to him, but can't thank that guy enough for everything he's done for us. And seriously, he was like kind of like an angel that came into our life to kind of turn things around. And so we hired him, and it just motivated us that much more because we were so focused in the gym. It was a structured program, something that we were missing. And the gym ended up being kind of our outlet to take our anger out on. And the weights and all that stuff, it alleviated the pain and everything like that we had. So we had something really to look forward to as far as weight training, finishing up school, getting our degree, and working to make money. So those were the three factors that kind of pushed us, out of that hole, out of hell, and to get back into, to life and to figure out what's next. So we ended up, graduating after that. We got our degree in business communications. We were working with Lane for a full year now, and we just were so inspired by how he was an entrepreneur running his own show, not having anybody telling him what to do. And Eric and I have already been working for people, and we knew what it was like, kind of like clocking in 9 to 5 and just like being micromanaged and stuff like that. So we just wanted to slowly build our own type of training and nutrition consulting business, and we knew we could do it because we had this background of working with people, and we had this gift of just connecting with people. So that's how we kind of ended up starting Dynamic Duo Training very slowly. So that was another factor that motivated us. We had a business on the side that we were slowly building at Mom's house this whole time. So just going back to that, we graduated. We're still working. I got a job at Sonoma State as a college advisor. Eric was still working at the hospital at the time, and I think that by working those two jobs, it helped us a lot too, to kind of figure out these basics of running a business and being the type of coaches that we are now. It just really put in some good values for us. So those were really just the main factors of what got us out of what we call hell. So it's funny how just everything just kind of works out like that. And it's just crazy, you know. I mean, we've been through a lot of shit, and you know, I'm not saying that you know other people haven't been through stuff, because there's people who've probably been through worse, you know. But you know, we luckily got out, and we found a mentor. So that's why we say mentors are freaking huge. They really are, because one mentor can literally turn your life around, you know. But just imagine if you guys have 2, 3, 4 mentors, how much of an impact that can make on your guys' lives, right? So I'll let Eric kind of just elaborate on that, and then.
Yeah, so as Chris said, that pretty much after, you know, we graduated from Sonoma State, we were still at our mom's house, living there, and you know, things were getting really bad there too, just because it was difficult to just, you know, 5 years after, you know, our father had passed away, you know, you can only start taking so much in seeing like your mom in a certain situation, and you know, at some point you have to move on from, you know, a tragedy like that, and you can't keep going through the same motions and bringing other people down. So that's pretty much what she was doing, and I would never like blame her for that. I would never, you know, look down on her for that, but that's what she was doing. She was bringing us down. So we knew that we had something going. We knew we had a good idea with our business model and everything, and we picked up and we left to San Rafael. So we lived over there in San Rafael, California, right next to San Francisco. We lived there for about 2 years, and it was awesome. It was probably like one of the best times of our lives. I enjoyed being out there. The convenience of having the city in San Francisco right next to you was just a blast, and it's beautiful over there. But you know, it got to a point where we were so consumed with our entrepreneurial like mindset and what our business was, which was Dynamic Duo Training. We were so invested in that, just emotionally, you know, mentally, physically. That's what our passion was, to where it got to a point where we couldn't fake it anymore at work. And they started, you know, catching on to us and stuff. And, you know, Chris would be doing side things for, you know, the business at his job. I would be, you know, doing stuff, answering emails, just doing stuff for our business, you know, on the side at my work when I worked at the hospital. And it's just one of those things where we knew that time was coming, that clock was ticking with our day jobs. And I remember I would go to my day job every morning, and I would even commute almost like an hour. So I would go there so pissed off, just having to go there and just clock in, and just that whole setting of just having to just make someone else more money. It just pissed me off so bad. I don't know why. And for people to delegate to me, tell me what to do on a day-to-day basis, and for me to be like, hey, I want to go on vacation, I want to take a day off, I have to submit some slip or something. So all those little things just really just got to me, and you know, I couldn't fake it anymore. My negative attitude would reflect in the work environment. I stopped and reflected, and I was like, I can't keep doing this. You know, I was like, I'm impacting these other coworkers that enjoy the work they're doing. They like their job, I don't, so I need to eliminate myself from the equation. So pretty much I ended up, you know, getting fired, you know, to make a long story short, and so did Chris. I still remember the day he came home, and he had like a box. He had a box with him, and I was laying on the couch. And I was like, oh man, I was like, did we get some new supplements or something? And then he was like, no, he's like, I got laid off or I got fired. And I couldn't stop laughing. I couldn't stop laughing because it was hilarious. It was like, it was meant to happen for both of us. So after that, you know, we were living in, you know, an apartment in San Rafael, and we're like, shit, we're like, how are we going to pay rent? So we had to suck it up. We had to make another sacrifice and pick up all of our stuff and move back to my mom's house, which I did not want to do. It was the last resort. I knew what kind of environment I was getting myself into, but I knew me and Chris and I knew that if we wanted to really expand our business and take that serious and make that full time, that we would have to sacrifice another year back at mom's house. So we did that, you know, and it was okay at first. We saved a lot of money. We built up our business really, really well. You know, developed good systems with it, got a clientele base, just learned more stuff because we had more free time. But again, it was a negative environment. You know, the energy was just negative. Just seeing my mom drink, just seeing her get upset out of nowhere. You know, it was kind of like we were just going backwards. We were regressing, putting ourselves in those positions where we were going out, around town, just, getting ourselves into trouble again. And I knew it. I just knew that if we stayed there, that we would have just like put ourselves in a hole and gotten ourselves into trouble and stuff. So I told Chris, I was like, Chris, we need to just get out of here. We need to get out of here. We need to go explore a bigger market. And when I was younger, I always wanted to live in Southern California. I always wanted to do that. I always wanted to go to college here. But, you can't do that when your father passes away and you have to be there and attend to your mom. So I was robbed that kind of thing from going out to college somewhere else. So I was like, Chris, we need to just pick up and go. We need to just try it out, take that risk, and see what happens. There's more opportunity for us out there. We don't belong here. There's nothing for us here anymore. Granted, I loved where I lived. We have awesome friends. I love all my friends till today that still live there and stuff. I mean, we're still very close, but that's just, there wasn't enough for us to keep us there. So what I did was, I took action, and I actually went on Craigslist.
And when he says he took action, he took major action.
Yeah, it was hilarious. So I went on Craigslist, and I had no clue where to go in Southern California. So I was looking for the cheapest place, the cheapest like studio, apartment, anything, just so we can get the heck out of there. And I found this studio in downtown LA, and it was off a street called Union in Wilshire. And whoever lives in SoCal now or downtown LA, you probably know, you're probably laughing. But we didn't know anything about that. And I pretty much was misled by the pictures and everything on the Craigslist ad. So, I submitted for it, I got the place. And I kid you not, when I moved over there, when we drove over there to Los Angeles from Northern California, our mouths dropped and my heart dropped because what kind of area I had chosen for us, and I was like, oh man, I was like, wow, Eric, like look what you did now, like what was I thinking? I mean, it was really, really bad. I'm not going to get into details, but it was a bad area, and it was just this small little studio, just like with pretty much just a little living room and then a kitchen. And all we did was bring our stuff with us that we needed, and we just set up an office there. And you know what? For some reason, our business took off so much once we moved out and went to Los Angeles. It's crazy. I don't know why, but it just skyrocketed. We got a ton of clientele. We just started learning more. We hired more mentors. We took more classes. We took our nutrition, we did pretty much like a master's program, an online master's program in sports nutrition. We did that. We got, another certification, a CSCS, through the NSCA. So, things were awesome, and we even, took advantage of being identical twins. I mean, come on, we're identical twins. We got somewhat of a good personality. My humor's okay. Chris has some good humor. So we're like, let's try some modeling or acting or anything we can get our hands onto. We're right next to Hollywood, so why not try to capitalize on the twin thing? So, that went okay. I mean, we got some good things going with that. We got a couple, gigs and this and that, which were okay. Tell the entire story that we went through. I was honestly getting teary-eyed right now when I was talking about my father and what happened, but that's how authentic I want to be on this podcast, and I don't want to hold anything back. And I want you guys to understand that there is a way out of hell. If you guys experience some sort of tragedy like that within your family, or you guys have some sort of adversity you're facing right now, there is a way out. It's going to be very, very difficult. There's going to be ups and downs, but there is a way out, and you can get yourself out of that. I mean, we're two small town guys, that have just been through a lot, but we've never been one to sit there and quit. We have that burning desire to keep going. We failed so many times along the way, but we're going to continue to fail, and that's what's gotten us stronger and wiser. And I just want you guys to know that, there's always a way out of something. You just have to just shed the light. You have to see the light. You guys have to you have to carve the path, and you guys have to be resilient. You can never ever quit, okay?
Yeah, so basically you guys are probably wondering, why did these guys start a podcast? So, we are huge fans of podcasts. We really are. And we've been doing our research for the past couple of years on podcasts. And, we love the whole fitness podcast thing. We do. I mean, don't get me wrong here. I've learned a ton of information through audio, through podcasts. I think it's great. But I think to add another, fitness podcast where we're talking about, training, nutrition, supplementation, the science behind it, I just think that we're just saturating it too much. And we already give away so much content through our blogs, through our social media, through YouTube, that you guys already kind of get that we pretty much give all this type of good information out. So I don't want to sit there and kind of oversaturate it with podcasts. So Eric and I are huge, like we said, on the type of entrepreneurial route and really like carving your own path and the mentality behind things, lifestyle. So we want to make this podcast, more geared towards that. We want to bring on, experts, higher level people, high level entrepreneurs, millionaires, billionaires if we can get them on here, and talk about their journeys, okay? And for example, we'll get fitness people on here as well. And we want to know, we don't want to know the science and stuff that they have to tell. You can find all that stuff through their work on their sites, through going to a conference, all that. We want to know what sparked that interest. What was that burning desire that got them from point A to point B? What struggles did they go through? What adversity did they hit? Have they ever been through hell? What was the light that they saw? So we want to do all this stuff to inspire and motivate you guys and educate you guys through this, okay? So that's what our podcast is going to be about. It's not going to be really fitness-based stuff. Of course, Eric and I will probably throw in some episodes where we kind of discuss some fitness-based stuff. That's fine, and we'll get some, Q&As, and we'll get your guys' suggestions and feedback as well. But we want you guys to understand this is going to be really a lot about interview-based, high-level people, and kind of just telling their stories and motivating you guys. Okay?
Yeah, like Chris said, I mean, we want to know people's stories. We're very, very intrigued by people's stories, and like he said, the ups and downs, the grind, overcoming adversity. So that's what we plan to bring you guys within this podcast, and I think that it'll be very, very valuable to everyone out there. And yeah, we'll try to make it somewhat humorous and keep our authenticity along the way.
Yep.
So
you guys follow us on Snapchat. You
Yeah.
guys probably already see that, and you guys are probably like, these guys are freaking
yeah, so
crazy
we'll throw in
idiots.
some jokes here and there. We might say some random stuff. We might curse a little bit here and there. But again, we're no saints. We're not trying to be people that we're not, and we want to keep it authentic.
Yeah. So we just kind of want to wrap it up here. We don't want to take too much of you guys' time, but thank you guys again for taking the time to listen to us right now and listen to our story. We'll link up the article in the show notes for you guys to read it too, but you guys got a pretty good understanding of what we came from and everything like that. So one thing we want to tell you guys is make sure to go to our website and sign up for our newsletter, okay? It's the thing that pops up right there, two big twins, you see the big eyebrows. Make sure to sign up there, and it's not because we're trying to sell you anything, okay? We give away content, free content every single week, okay? So make sure you guys sign up on there and get on that list and get the free content we're giving out, okay? So again, we want to thank you guys and want to let you guys know we're on iTunes. This is going to be on YouTube as well and SoundCloud. So make sure to subscribe, make sure to rate it, and if you guys can share